Okay. Alrighty. Hello, everybody. I am Stephen Osborne, and I am building Webent. Now, I'm sorry. Oh, unfortunate. Changed, which I gotta change my desktop real quick. This one. This one. Oh, done. Okay. Let's move that over there. All right. Blank desktop. It's been a couple weeks since I've been on. 2 weeks ago, we established, actually, honestly, it's been about a month now, 3 or 4 weeks. Within that time frame, we established a website with Flywheel, developing it with Local by Flywheel. So this here is Local by Flywheel. It's an application that we use to create and manage a local environment of our website. It's great for WordPress sites. You can just spin up a WordPress application, and each application is its own database, is its own setup. But it can have a different database, or it could be on a different version of WordPress, or it could be multi-site, not multi-site. So, very awesome tool when working on WordPress sites, Local by Flywheel. But then Flywheel web hosting allows us to take it one step further and push and pull our content from local or from live, vice versa. So this adds even more control and flexibility when making updates and such. So real quick, we're going to start our site, and we're going to take a quick look at what we got so far. While that's loading up, I can actually go ahead. Spotify wants to open. Speaking of music, let me go ahead and throw some light tunes on in the background. 99 Lives, 83 Excelsior. That's what's popular right now. Oh, I have to turn that down for myself. Okay. Alright, I gotta try and check how loud that actually is. Pretty good tune. Banger. Alright, I gotta see how loud this is on the stream though. Relatively loud, actually. Pretty good tune. Banger. Alright, I gotta see. Okay. Let's just turn down desktop audio 10 a bit more. Alright. And real quick, just gonna check how that sounds now. Alright. And real quick, just gonna check how that sounds now. Okay. I can dig it. Okay. music setup, little background flare. There's a good chance from time to time I'll be focused and not too chatty. Plus, there's really no one to chat with right now anyways, so I'm for the most part going to be trying to explain what I'm doing as I do it, but I'm not going to cover every little thing. I'm not going to jump into all the documentation, and I'm not going into long-winded explanations. This is more of a let's build. I just try to explain as I go along, not a full-blown tutorial or anything of that nature. So I already kind of went over local by flywheel, which creates our local environment. I created the site, it's running, but I actually click this button to view the site itself. So this is what we've got so far, and you can see that this is just the default content. My goal today is to build a content management system, well, a CMS, but no, a page builder, my own page builder, using ACF. So ACF is Advanced Custom Fields. Advanced Custom Fields. Yeah, and fortunately for me, I actually, well, let's see, do I have it? I'm going to go into the back end of my site. Not local. Got it saved in my password manager. Plugins. Nothing. Query monitor, just for troubleshooting. I know I was having an issue trying to find the one that I actually like. Template. Current template file. Show current template. I think this is it. Install now. Activate. So this is the one that I was actually looking for last time. Open this in a new tab to see the front end. And now see, yeah, this is showing the current template, page.php. Page.php is what's loading this. Advanced custom fields. Get pro. Account. And I got this in my password saver as well. I probably should have done that on a different screen, but oh well. It's under license, and then I can download the latest version to my downloads, and then I can go into the back end, add new. I'm going to keep Query Monitor for now because it's just another debug tool that I can use. Of course, wouldn't want to keep those plugins installed on the live site, but for right now, since it's all in development and we're not pushing it, we're not marketing it or anything of that nature, keeping them in even on the live site for right now is fine. That being said, we do got to keep in mind to clean that up later. Let's go ahead and activate ACF, and then what is it? Settings. Oh no, it's within the custom fields. Updates. This is where we put in our license key. I definitely thought that that was going to be hidden. Oh jeez. Well, I'm sure that my license key is going to get jacked now. Let me just do this off screen. I know I already messed up, but whatever. Okay. In fact, I think I might be able to. No. Okay. Awesome. Whatever. I've got unlimited activations on it, so got my ACF plugin installed, activated. No updates. Got the latest version. So now we have access to tools, which lets us export and import. So since this theme is going to be built off of many ACF features, some of which I will be exporting to PHP and building into the theme, but others are going to require that ACF plugin be installed and then import these certain fields, which, since this is my own personal site, not a big deal. I have full control and manage over that, and I have the ability to export and import anywhere. That being said, the code that handles how the content is going to be rendered and the styles to go with them are going to be dependent on the theme. However, I'm going to be building my styles within my theme to be modular. So the styles that go with the ACF fields and that structure are going to coexist with one another. So I'll easily be able to extract the styles and move those along as well. As far as how well a theme can actually load those styles properly outside of my own theme will depend on that theme and how that theme manages style sheets. Then again, you could just use a plugin like W3C cache or advanced caching, and that could go through, find all of your style sheet queries, and then compile them all into one file and minimize it, which would include ACF fields if you were to put them into a new site. However, we're handling our style sheets in a different way, where we don't want to compile all our styles into one file and load it in the head. We're chunking all our styles out from top to bottom, and it loads as you scroll, or as the page loads from top to bottom. And this makes the top fold and the first paint a lot faster, optimizing performance and getting higher scores on Google Page Speed, Insights, and Lighthouse. This benefits SEO and conversion rates and such. Anyways, so now that I got it installed, I'm going to add new, and I'm going to call this. I took notes on how I wanted to go about doing this part actually. So it's going to start off with a repeater for each article. So I'm going to call this content builder. Add field. This is going to be article. This is going to be a repeater. And the subfield is going to be content, and this is going to be flexible content. So now we can create different types of content within this flexible content, all with their own configurations and their own settings, and we can give each portion its own settings as well. So we have content for the article. Let's add another field, and this is going to be settings, but field name is going to be article _ settings. You can even call this configuration. It's just the settings. Simple. This is going to be a group, and now this group can have its own settings. So let's see. Populated drop-down layout of content. Second repair config. Full width boxed grid. Okay, so first will be width. Article width And this can be a drop down, which would be a select. I'll be right back. I have to take a quick break. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. So, unfortunately right now I've only got maybe an hour left to stream, but I'm going to try to come back today and pick up from where we left off and finish up. So hopefully we get some make some progress today. Anyways, so just recapping real quick, creating a content builder with ACF fields, starting off with a article repeater with settings first as a group, and in that group we have a group of settings. We have the article width, and this is going to be a select choice selection, and I don't need instructions right now. Choices are going to be full width, box. So those are two different type of full widths. There's the full width of the content, which is box, and full width, which goes completely left to right. Those are going to be basically two different types of set defaults. And then we're going to have one that's grid. This one is going to be unique. So let's see, enter choice on any line. Font value. I'm going to do box by default. let's see. We want full dash width. So these are going to be actual values. Boxed width, grid width, and we're going to go with boxed width as the default. And one of those have to be selected. Select multiple values. No, only one. Why not make it stylized? Return format value. Yeah, we just want the values back. We're going to make this. Let's see. The way that I'm going to handle grid is that you define the article's grid columns, right? That's going to be within a boxed. So wait a second. How do I actually want to do this? If I do grid on this, then you know what? This isn't actually an article. I don't know why I thought of it as an article. It's a section. Well, no, okay. It is an article. The section is the content. All the content is that section. And then each section within that section is an article. An article should be content that can stand alone on its own. You can look at it and it would function as a single piece. So a title, some content, maybe a call to action, could be a product, it could be something along those lines, right? But it by itself would make sense. A section is like a section of content where there's multiple pieces that all come together to form the full section. And they all, so the content, all the content, and we could break the content up into multiple different sections if you were like, the articles are different pieces, but the section, if you wanted to say main content of this page and then have like a secondary content, which is typically an aside or a sidebar, but if you wanted it to operate as actual content or have it organized that way, there should be the ability to do that. But with this, I feel like if I wanted to do something like that, I would either create a custom solution or I would come back and I would refactor this to include that as an option as well. But for now, I don't foresee it being something that is going to be necessary. I think just having articles that all come together within the main content and then having a different avenue to modify and create content for an aside or sidebars. Yeah, but if you wanted like a comparison chart or anything, that's all within the articles. So yeah, anyways, moving on. Settings, grid. Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is just define right now that grid is within a boxed content width. And if you want to do half a grid, then it's a little weird. Anyways, this is what I'm thinking. I'm going to do this at like 33.33% added field. This is going to be the grid values, and this is going to be grid. Um, you know what? Let's break this down a little bit. Let's pull up an article on web design called A Complete Guide to Grid from CSS Tricks. An amazing resource, by the way, CSS Tricks. We come down, scroll down a little bit. We got grid template columns, grid template rows. So it's a matter of, is this going to be a default set for all the content no matter what when using grid? We're just defining how many columns we want to go within this piece of content. How do we want to adjust it over? Like how are we going to set up this content itself? So it would be these values, and these would all just be set to auto or 1FR, which is one fraction of the space. The thing is that FR, I think, requires that they all be the same. If you do 1FR, 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 where auto can be dynamic. We could also do grid template areas, which allows us to sort of define how it's going to be grouped up, and then we can just give grid area names to each portion inside. I think that's what I'm going to do. I think that it's going to be a set boxed width. Yeah, I almost feel like grid should be just, yeah, you know what, full width and boxed will define whether it's going to go to the far edges or the content width, and then grid is going to be separate. It's not going to be a selection. Grid is always going to be on. So grid, we want to call this grid, just had it, didn't I? Grid template area, so grid areas. Grid areas, instructions define the areas, define grid areas for children parts, for children elements. Get more info. Learn more about grid at CSS Tricks. Now, ideally, we would like to create my own I would like to create my own articles on such matters and then just link to that instead. But until then, I'm going to use CSS Tricks in the instructions. I think that'll work. I don't think it strips that in the instructions, so it should link. Let's see, this is going to be optional. Grid area text. In fact, let's do text area, because with this it's about, but let's only give it like 3 rows. .33. So we got width, and we got grid area. Grid areas. Now I know that there's a shorthand to do rows and columns at the same time. Grid column start, grid column, grid template column, grid template. So grid template, row 1 start, header, 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 row 2 start, row 2 end, and then row 1 start 25 pixel, row 1 end, row 2 start 25 pixel, row 2 end, auto 50, auto, and then set. Alright, yeah, I think I'll just do that. I'm curious though if you could just do grid template and then only define grid areas, and if that would work, or how that would work. So I'll just do that. Come up here, grid template, grid files, or define grid container for children elements. I was thinking about breaking it up into 3, or try to do 2, but I can do it all in one. It gives me the flexibility to define it within the back end for each article separately. The user experience isn't going to be there, but I'm going to expand on the user experience later down the road when I'm retooling this. But for now, I'm going to keep it within my capabilities. And placeholder text, I'll go ahead and take this example here. No character limit, 3 rows should be fine. To start, new lines, no formatting, conditional logic. Okay, now that we got that, let's... Gotta take this. I'm not sure if you can hear me, but if you can, I can't hear you. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Okay. I had to take that phone call. It was important. Sorry, I am back. Okay. Gosh. Love to just have a solid block of time, 6-8 hours, to just sit down and just hammer everything out on this site. Got an hour. Let's see what we can get done. And a lot of it is me trying to plan it like on the fly. So here we go. We got an article builder. We have article settings that we are setting. We've got whether it's going to be full width or boxed. And we're going to set grid template settings right here in one spot. But then we also need justify items and item alignment. So these are going to end up being 4. So let's take these down to 25%. 25%. And then we got grid. Just do justify items. Text. I'm going to prepend all of these with articles so that they don't get jumbled up. Text field is fine. Text. And then I'm going to have one more, which is align items. Append it with article underscore text as well. So that align items here, which are pretty much the same. Placeholder text, one single line of text, 25%. Let's go ahead and just do the rules. This is going to be post type is equal to page. So all pages are going to have this. It might be better if I made a page template that then would load in this content, but I want this to be my default way of creating content. I'm basically throwing out Gutenberg, but it's good to still have Gutenberg handy. So instead, I'm going to create a custom page template for Gutenberg, and I'm going to have the default page template just rely on this page builder. Yeah, that's it. It's kind of backwards, but I prefer having fidelity and complete control over the HTML structure. And you can modify how Gutenberg works, but it is far more complex and more of a head scratcher and a headache than it's really worth, I think. That being said, it's easy to plug and play features from outside plugins to extend the ability without having to hand code every little thing. And sometimes those little features can be pretty handy. We'll be building a lot of our own features through our ACF page builder, but sometimes you just can't get it without Gutenberg. And now I could create an ACF field that basically just has Gutenberg ready to be used anyways, and we can switch it on and off. Same with this page builder. We can add a switch that switches it on and off for specific pages, so that we can not even have to use a page template to differentiate between the two page builders, and we could even use both. However, it'd be kind of a pain trying to say, oh, do Gutenberg first and then do this, or do this and then Gutenberg. I mean, we can also add in that kind of conditional logic as well. It wouldn't be too terribly tough, but it gets more complex and irritating the more we try to do that kind of stuff right off the bat. So for sake of simplicity, we're just going to use two different page templates, one or the other, not mixing both. and then we can go through and add that conditional logic later, and then refine it down to just one page template, and all pages will then be updated. We'll have to go through and flip the switches where necessary to make sure that the pages that are built on Gutenberg have the switch flipped, set the defaults so that it's using the ACF page builder over Gutenberg. So anyways, that's future update. So we got the grid, we got the layout settings, article width, grid template, justify items, align items. These are all 25 width, so they're going to be one line. Settings, group. So now let's do something like background, which we'll just do article underscore background. I feel like we just leave it open-ended. However, background can very easily have all the, or most of the settings all in one line, one single line. That being said, it's a pain trying to build that, and I could create all the different settings individually. If you wanted to use gradients or anything, building in all the settings to modify it here, that kind of UI would be extensive, and so I would rather just use a gradient generator, copy the code, paste it in. That being said, I feel like if I keep it this way, it'll be again, the user experience is going to suck, but I'm going to go ahead and make this a text area because it can be lengthy in text, and I'd rather it wrap. Again, let's only give it 3 rows. No formatting. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it as that. Let's make it 50% because I could probably think of one other thing. Oh, yeah. Background, and let's go text color. Article text color. One line. Instructions. Set default color for article text. So the way that I'm going to be structuring all elements within each article is to inherit color unless specifically set. So I'll have to create backend configurations to set specific colors. Otherwise, it's all going to be inheriting this specific color. Let's see, default value. Black is default. Let's make it 50. I can't think of anything else right now, so I'm just going to go ahead and publish this. Again, we only have settings for the article, and then we have flexible content, but we don't have any content type, right? So first thing I'm going to do is a hero, and actually, no, not a hero. Header. Text is fine. Actually, I'm going to make this a group so that I can actually create settings within this header and it's going to be title. And we'll just do header underscore title. That's a text. And add another one. Tagline. Header underscore tagline. Text is fine. Add another text alignment. I'm going to make this a selection. Choices. Text align left. Left align. Center. Center align. And then right. Right aligned. Default value is going to be center. And I guess I'll just make this 50%. Add another field. This is going to be text color. Now this is kind of like saying for the whole header. So both the title and tagline share the same color and the same alignment. I think it'd be better to let both be independent of each other. So why not? What we're going to do is we're going to take title, we're going to give it a width of 50%. We're going to take tagline, give it a width of 50% as well, but they're not going to be right next to each other. They're going to be underneath each other still. So I'm going to collapse these options. Text alignment, what happened to color? Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and put this here, and instead of text I'm going to do title, and then I'm going to do title underscore alignment, select, and this is going to be 25%. I'm going to add another field. I'm going to put it above tagline, and this is going to be title color, title underscore color, and this is going to be a color picker. Where is that? Date picker. There it is, color picker. Default value doesn't matter. 25%. This is going to be title color, and then I'm going to collapse title color. I'm going to collapse title alignment. I'm going to duplicate title alignment, put it underneath tagline. Well, there's the color. I'm going to delete that one. Title alignment, and then title color. Collapse. Put that underneath alignment. Open up this, rename it to tagline alignment. Get rid of that copy. Now, instead of typing that out, I can just delete it, shift tab back to that one, then tab back over to this, and it'll fill it in. So I'm going to do the same here. Tagline, get rid of copy, delete, go back, forward, tagline color. So that is the title and its settings, tagline and its settings, but what about the header itself? Let's do background. And again, we're going to make this just like the other one, a text area. It's likely that we'll just be setting a color, and I guess prepend this with header background, and then and let's only make this with the 50% because I may want to do padding. Give that just text, make it 25%. Actually, you know what, let's make background. Let's make these all even, 33.33. And this one, 33.33. And add one more, padding, and then margin. And header, margin. Let's make sure I did that for padding. Didn't. Header underscore padding. Ay, ay, ay. Being pulled away again. Let's just try to finish this header content at least. So those are all the settings that we should need for header. Now we got a header content type. Next would be a section repeater config. Class. Forgot to do class and ID for these. Hi. Content, flexible content, config, alignment, header, call to action, boxed content, featured content, posts, and then open content, which open content is open HTML and open CSS and open JavaScript that allows custom building. Sorry, I know that this stream has been crazy back and forth, but I'm going to have to pause it again for a few minutes, and I'll be right back as soon as possible. Alright, I am back. Oof, this is a rough stream. I will attest to that, but I wanted to get on, I wanted to do it, and it's better to just be doing it than to put it off because you just can't give it 100%. This is the early days. I know that this is going to be a hobby of mine that is going to have to flourish from these rocky streams to far better organized, scheduled, and just more production value on the later streams. So got to start somewhere. So here we are. We're getting started. Alright, so we created the header and all the settings that we're going to be using to get started with the header. Let's now create something for content. I am thinking that I'm just going to start with let's just start with open content. This is going to be my HTML, CSS, and Java, well, maybe JavaScript. We'll see. I'm going to just stick with HTML and CSS custom, and it'll just basically inject that HTML and the CSS right in there, in line. The idea, though, is that you can create on the back end CSS files in a specific folder, and then have the files within that folder populate a drop down on the back end that allows you to select which CSS file you actually want to load in, and then you can add CSS on top of that. This way the thing can load in a CSS snippet inline, maybe even have JavaScript snippets that could be loaded in as well, so that way it can create custom tools, custom features before actually implementing them into the back end or into the page builder itself. So if I were to create the snippet and the CSS snippet and then just have HTML structure and then break that HTML structure into settings that can be populated with ACF fields like this, it then becomes an integrated feature. So I think that this is a good place to start with content outside of the header, of course. So basically any repeated content I can test, again, the HTML, the CSS, and JavaScript right here, load in the snippets, and then transform that into an actual integrated feature. So I'm just repeating myself now, so let's move on. Open content. This is going to be a group of settings and such. Open content, we're going to want instead of ranking this, create a class which okay, so this will be just, I'm debating if I even want to give it an optional title or anything of that nature. I don't think so. I think it's just going to be an HTML box and a CSS box. Yeah. So open content, HTML, content, and I'm going to make this a text area. Let's start it with 4 line. It's 5 lines. Full width, full 100%. So it'll just be HTML on top, CSS on bottom. Yeah. So CSS styles. Text area, and then 5 rows. Okay. I'll go ahead and update that. Now, just real quick, I'm going to pull open. Let's go into, where is it? Creative Cloud, Webent, Media, Paintbrush Mockup. Now I know that we haven't even finished with our front end mock-up and everything, but I feel it's important that we establish how we're going to be building content. Uh, yeah. I wonder if within Content Builder, if I should even build like a side or a specific call to action right here within the repeater. Nah. Okay. So this was the very quick rough draft we put together. Oof. Computer is slogging. Come on. There we go. Give me that corner. Alright. We've got our top fold here. And then we got an idea of how we're going to structure things afterwards. I think I already exported this quick hand drawing. Let's see, assets. JPEG? No. I guess I haven't. Or maybe I did. Huh. Well, that is something else. Assets. You got a little sneak peek into what I've done in the past for Webent. This was a sidebar showing the character falling down towards like a boss with his hand out. Not the best artist out there, okay? But this here is about 7 years old now. 6-7 years old. As you can see, I'm obviously not the best artist out there in the world, but let's see. Select this. Yes, this is all one layer. Create new. Pull it out. Grab this. Drag it over into this new artboard. Back up here. Create an image. And shoot. Canvas set. Reveal all. There it is. And then trim. Trim top left. Bottom right. Background. Do another trim of transparent pixels. I think I can even. And I'll just go ahead and delete cropped pixels. That's all I want. A little bit of dots from stars, the moon. This is going to be on top of the canvas. Again, we haven't even incorporated theme settings, but that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and save this. Not in my school folder. Webent. Media. Balance. I'll just call this top fold. Cloud. Top fold. Top fold. Top fold. Mountains and clouds. That's what we're going to call it. And I'm going to hit OK. Make sure to save it. It's done saving. Save it again. This time as a PNG. Smallest file size. I don't know why the options keep popping over to the right, but okay. So now we go in here, go back one, go to balance. We have top fold mountains. I'll go ahead and close that one. I'm going to go ahead and close that as well. And I think I'm going to add one more. I've got content here with open content, but let's do a top fold. And this is going to be a group, a repeater group. If we wanted in the top fold to have a slider, then we'd have to make a repeater with options for each slide, including the image and everything, and then we can create our own slider. However, I'm not going to do slider right now. I'm going to just do solid image. We'll probably build in a slider later, but yeah, just going to do group. And you might realize, wow, this is really getting thick, or it's really starting to drill down, because we're starting off with a repeater with flexible content inside with groups, and then in these groups we could have repeaters, and those repeaters can have flexible content, and it can just keep going down, down, down. The further down you keep doing that, the more complicated and difficult it'll be to manage that kind of stuff. So it's better to just keep it at this level. Don't go much further. You can do a repeater for the slides, but don't do repeater for open-ended content. The repeater should be specific, whereas this repeater is for open-ended content to be repeated. You don't want to repeat open-ended content within open-ended content within open-ended content. It just be the complexity, and the code can get very jumbled very quickly. So yeah, top fold group, because we want settings for it, and we want a title. In fact, we're basically repeating the header. It's just that the header is going to be a specific like separator. Bam, this is the header for each article. In fact, we don't even need, since we have header there, let's not bother with adding it to every single thing. Okay, so top fold doesn't need a header. It doesn't need a title, because we could do that in the header. Tagline goes in the header. So top fold really just needs, could be created in the header. Since it's just a single image, we just set the background image, and we just set the padding to be I think what makes it a little bit and that article will be a header within header tags. Yeah, I guess we really let's not worry about it. Let's just use header. Header has got title, tagline, background, padding, margin. This is what we're going to do. We're going to duplicate header. Do top fold. Or actually, let's just do featured content. Just call it featured. Featured. It's a group, and it has a title. We call it featured title. Title alignment. I don't think it really matters, because it's in a group, a separate group. As long as this one has got a different field name as that one, it'll be a different name of an array, but the inside arrays can be the same. So just do title alignment. Yeah, keep it all the same. Essentially, we can repeat the same way that this is handled, but we will be providing one extra field for each one of these, and it's going to be position. Well, position. Yeah. I'm gonna just make this a text area and allow me to do so this is going to be 50%. Let's reduce this to 40%. Reduce this to 20%. And it might be easier to collapse that. And then to put this just here so that we can go screen options and just do one column. Give us wider. There we go. Now we can see what we're doing. 40%, so that's 40. By 20 is 60. By position 20 is 80. Right. Title 40, alignment 20, position 20. What happened to title color? Oh, it got lost in the amongst everything. Okay. So 40, 20, 20, 20 is 40, 60, 80, 100. This will be one line now. Position is going to be kind of clumped up. It might not look too well. Whatever. We can adjust how this all lays out later. And I know I haven't even shown you what it looks like currently. Then we got tagline, alignment, tagline color. Maybe we want to make sure that this position is title position. And then we have another position. Let's put this one. Tagline, alignment, tagline color. Actually, I feel like position should probably come before alignment and color. It's a little bit more important in this situation. Position, tagline, underscore position. I'm running out of time. Let's give it text area width 20. Tagline is 40. Tagline alignment 20. 20. Okay. Now background padding. Let's actually pop these up at the I guess we'll just keep it where it's at. Background padding. We can do padding as well as even margin, but let's go ahead. Let's reduce this to 25%. Actually, let's make that, keep this at 33, keep this at 33. Add one more, call it height. And make this 33.33. Keep this at 33. And we'll just make background 100% with wide right now. It's a little bit much, but Okay, so I think that's all we're going to really need. Oh, I'm sorry, one more for featured, and that is going to be the call to action. Call to action. And this is going to be a button. A link, page link, link is what I'm looking for. Message clone. Time picker, date picker. Open that user. Yeah, I think link is what I'm looking for. Button group. URL. Now this is going to be right under tagline. Call to action is going to be link. We want to return the link URL. Or maybe the full array. We can adjust that later. And then we're going to want to duplicate alignment, position, put position under call to action, put alignment under position, and then also color. I'm almost out of time, people, but that's okay. I'm going to do my best to come back today. So we're going to do call to action, position. Since I'm using CTA, I'm just going to make this CTA. Yeah, actually, call to, let's keep it call to action. Why not? Call it out, spell it out, and then within it, abbreviate. Kind of helps people who don't know what CTA stands for make a correlation. Action alignment. Yeah, that's right. This needs to be what, 40%. Position is going to be 20. Yep. And then CTA color picker. Alright, so we've got featured content here with a call to action, with a title, tagline, call to action, all with their sub settings for position, alignment, and color. What is this? I have an important meeting coming up, and so I need to be getting prepared for that. So I'm gonna have to wrap up here. All right, so we've done quite a bit within the the ACF plugin, and we've pretty much built a visual content builder, at least on the back end. We still need to create the code that renders the HTML that we create here. So let's go to pages. And let's go to homepage. And you'll notice Gutenberg is still there, but underneath it we have Content Builder. So if I go to here and then options, must use open content builder was the one that there I needed. So I just got rid of my content builder. That it still exists. I just took it out of the options on accident. Okay, so there it is. I forget if there's a way to I know that okay, I'm gonna go back over to ACF real quick. Custom fields. You can see the content builder is here though. We have articles, and then we just add a row, and then we got our settings. Did I set the settings and the content to be 50-50? Oof. Perhaps I didn't. Maybe it's just not set, and it's just doing its best to throw them both in there. Yeah, I don't have set width on either of these, so I'll just go ahead and set a width on both of these to 100. Hit update real quick, and you can see, come back here, refresh the page. Let's go real quick back over to ACF. Let's see, hide on screen, select items to hide on screen, and none of these are Gutenberg. There's content editor, and we got content builder, so content editor might be what we're trying to hide, which is Gutenberg. Come back here and refresh the page. That Gutenberg is still there. Doesn't matter. We go ahead and add row. Alright, oh, you know what? It's because article is set up for table. We should have it on block. I don't know why it was on table by default. Block works way better. Refresh that. Add row. Alright, now we got our row settings. The article width. We want it full width or boxed. And then we can define our grid. Got to basically put in the CSS there. How we want to justify the items. How we want to align the items. Then we got our background setting, which is going to be, again, CSS code. Our text color, whatever we want. I should have made that a color picker, huh? So go into settings, text color, go to color picker. Alright. And then we got our content for this article. Interesting. What did I do wrong? Oh geez. Oh, I forget about that. Header. Okay, so each one of these is actually supposed to be one of these. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this layout. Header, and then I'm going to do open content, and I'm going to duplicate that down here and call this one featured. Alright, and then for header, I'm going to go ahead and delete open content, and I'm going to delete featured. I just want my group header here of such, which I'm realizing I didn't have to make it a group. It's been a minute since I've used all this. I think I can pull these out though. Yeah, you just pull them out right there, like such. Or in fact, you just could group them. I'll group them later. It's just that if I'm going to group them, I'm going to group them between settings and content. But all the content has its own setting, everything. There's really no need for a group. So let me remove that. And now for open content, I'm going to delete header. I'm going to delete featured. I'm going to open content. And I'm going to grab and pull it up out of this group. And I'm going to delete the group. And then for featured, I'm going to delete open content and header. Open featured. Take this and drag it out. Title, position, title alignment, title color, tagline. This one's got quite a bit. Position, tagline alignment, tagline color, call to action, position, alignment, color, and the background, padding, margin, height should honestly go before padding. Height, padding, then margin. That's how I like to organize it. And I'm going to delete that group. Coming up here, update. Go to edit page, refresh. I didn't save any of that, so none of it should still be there. I'm going to add a row, or add an article. Really should change that from add row to add article. And then content, going to add a row or add content. Why is featured the only one showing up? Article, content, header, name header. Oh, content, content. Because they all have the same names. It's going to use the last one. Featured. Update. Refresh over here. Okay, everything should be working okie dokie now. I'm gonna add a row, all the settings, add content, and I got header, open content, and featured. I'm gonna start with featured. Title, position, which I guess I gave that too many lines. Article. Content, and come down to featured, and it's going to be every single one of these positions. I didn't adjust. Oh wait, position is oh, it's just the first one. Is it text area? I do want a text area, but I only want maybe two rows. Two rows, position, and the reason I'm making it a text area is because I'm leaving the position styles open-ended, and it's just going to be, I'm going to be defining, the position absolute, top 10%, left 12%. All in that text area, and it's just going to inject it. Really, I can inject it any CSS, but it's specifically meant for that. And since I'm the only one controlling it, I know how to write it. It'll work. Again, can blow that up and make settings for each one of those individually. It makes the content builder a lot more robust, where you just fill in numbers. But I like having control where I can actually just type in exactly what I want to happen. Okay. So those are all set. And this is going to have a title of balance. Position is going to be absolute position. absolute. Top is going to be, actually, let's go bottom is going to be maybe 50 pixels. Let's just say 2M. And then left is going to be 50%. And then transform, translate X negative 50%. That makes it perfectly centered. That's probably not necessary. Probably could just align it from the left over to where it would fit in that spot. This is going to put it 2M from the bottom, perfectly center. It's not going to be perfect, but I'll make adjustments from there. Text align, center aligned. Text color, I'm going to go full-blown black, baby. Tagline, no tagline. So just leave tagline empty, and we'll just have a conditional saying only do all this if this exists. So if tagline doesn't exist, don't do any of it. So just leave it blank, and that code will skip. Call to action will be a page. Let's just do projects page for right now. Position, we can copy that and then just do bottom. It's going to be 1M, and I guess I can adjust this and make the 3M. Center aligned, also black. That's right, I actually put in the link text here, view project. Might be a good idea to actually make it so that the title can be linked as well. Could just not have a title or a tagline and just use a call to action and call it balance, and then align the call to action where I want it. Also could extend the settings to say, is this a button or is this just a text, or what styles you want associated with it. Background. Oh, you know what? Derp. I know now why it'd be better to have like an image here so that I can actually upload the image that I want to do. So let's see, height. We go into here, open the top fold mountain, and we go to image, canvas. We can see here that it's 1469 by 487. We do calculator, if I can type. And I think the math is 487 divided by 1469. So 33%, 33.15%. Sorry, of the width. So the height is 33.15% of the height. Oh, I gotta sneeze. So height 33.15 VW for view width. This is going to be a full width article, by the way. So put full width. I should probably set all that up, but padding. Really no point in sending that for this, at least. All right, and we can update. Now, real quick, I'll just go back into here. Article, content, and there's really no getting around it. You're going to be jumping back and forth into here to adjust things as needed. You know, whenever you figure out, oh, this isn't set up how I would like it. So I'm going to call this background settings or background styles. Right, and then I'm going to duplicate it, throw one up top, and call this background image. Header background. header VG image, and this is going to be an image. I want the image array, or image ID works typically better because you can call the image ID with a function that pulls it in with source set and everything and uses yeah, I'm going to do it that way. But that's, since it's a background image, we can always do the array and then just pull the URL from the array, and then set up like some media queries to pull different background images at different queries, or just do the image URL straight up. I guess we'll just stick with image array for right now. Background, let's go ahead and make the image 50%, and then the background styles 50%. Alright. Update this. Update page. Did update this, right? I hope so. I didn't just lose the settings of that. No, okay. Everything is still there. Add image. And then I go to my folder, grab this PNG, upload it, select, and I've got the image. Now I can add styles to control all that. Probably will break those down into configuration fields and everything. So we've got our visual builder built. We got our ACF fields and everything. We have a way of creating content on the back end that we have complete control over. Of course, we could have just used Gutenberg for a lot of this and worked within the confines of Gutenberg, but the entire purpose that I am approaching this project with is to extend custom builds to Gatsby with static site as a static site project. And using Gutenberg is a little bit out of it's going to be harder to translate Gutenberg content to Gatsby, whereas this I can translate it to Gatsby, shares the same HTML, shares the same CSS, and basically can be easily transferable from WordPress to Gatsby. Gutenberg has that potential as well, and I will be exploring that, which is why I'm not just getting rid of Gutenberg, but I will be switching back and forth between the two. So I'll be back later today, in a couple hours, to build in the actual integration to the front end using the ACF page builder that we just created, or that I just created, and showcasing the content on the front end. And then once we got all that, we're going to be pushing it up to the live site. So since nothing has been changed on the live site right now, I can go ahead and refresh that. You see that it looks the exact same. There's nothing to push yet. So, but we have content ready to be pushed up to the front page, and we'll be doing